What is going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Dutchy and Swoop Show, episode 23.
Ciao, bello.
He's back. He's back. Actually, it's Italian Dutchy and Swoop Show now.
Yeah, I'm speaking fluent Italian now.
He's back from Italy. It's been a
Yeah.
month since our last potty. This will be the last potty of 2025.
Yeah.
Mate, how was Italy?
Mate, it was unbelievable. It's funny when you're you're talking. You're at a restaurant and you're ordering and you say ciao and then you order in English with a strong Australian accent and then grazie at the end, and it's just kind of like
You just pepper
you think
through.
you're a local, but you're just kidding yourself, really.
How long were you gone for? Two or 3 weeks?
3 weeks. 3 weeks actually. Yeah. So my Sarita's father is no longer with us. Mario. He lived in a little town called Asiago up north.
Yep.
It's very like a old school, sort of nearly like a bit of a Swiss look about the town. It's
Of course,
pretty
'cause
cool.
up north, yeah.
And we spent a bit of time up there, and then did a bit of everything. But it was amazing. First time I've ever been to Italy. So
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, it's I haven't been, but it's everyone just rants and raves about it. You bring your football and have a kick at the Coliseum,
I
or
didn't actually do that. No, but we had a bit of a look at the Colosseum. Did all the usual touristy things that you got to do, but. Geez, Rome's an incredible place, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
it
buildings that
looks
are
it.
like 2,000 years old. And imagine if they came to Australia, they go, "What is going on around here? This is boring."
yeah, oh man, that's like this time last year I was in Europe, and I think I was in Switzerland around this time last year, and then I went to Prague.
Yep.
Or I went to Prague first, then Switzerland, and the architecture there.
Yeah.
You go, I can't believe that.
It's amazing.
It's like older than like when Australia was discovered. Obviously,
Yeah.
Australia's a lot older than that. But you just go, oh my God, these churches are 3,000 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy.
First, how do they build them? Because they're so big. Like, it's a whole pyramid thing all over
I
again.
know, it is, isn't it? I know.
No,
There's got to be more to it than meets the eye
hey,
with
aliens.
with
I'm
that.
telling you, it's all, but I think that's another podcast that we'll.
All right,
that
we'll
we'll
start
do.
that one up
That's
next
a
year.
conspiracy.
That
There's
one.
a conspiracy podcast coming
Yeah.
out, but it's been a lot happening since
Lot
we
happening.
last.
A few
last
boys
talked.
unfortunately have moved on.
Since
we last spoke.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. We'll get on to the delistings first, and then we'll talk about our trade period and who left and who came in. So
Actually, before we get on to the D list and that, how's the general feel? Like, I've been here and that, like
True.
just around your Collingwood mates and Collingwood fraternity. What's the general feel about the aftermath of what's taken place?
I think the general feel is that people are disappointed that we didn't do a lot during the trade period, but they understand why, because we just didn't have any commodities, anything to truly trade.
Yeah.
But the general feel from Collingwood supporters is that we'll be okay for 2026. Like, it's still going to be the same team that was in the prelim, besides a couple of players.
Yeah.
You have some younger kids coming through.
Yeah.
Hopefully less injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But everyone's pretty upbeat.
Yeah.
Pretty upbeat that we didn't trade away, and we'll get into it in a second, but we didn't trade away like Bobby Hill or Jordan De Goey like it was rumoured, or there wasn't any big players moving, so
No.
we still got our real core group of players.
Yeah.
But the other side of that coin is that other teams are getting better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brisbane's getting better.
Yeah.
Sydney are now got Curnow. Everyone's just getting these bigger players.
But there's probably, I mean, you could say about Collingwood too that the group, like you bring Perryman in, and obviously who else did we bring in last year? Houston,
Shooter.
Yep. So those guys there are going to connect better 12 months
Yep.
in. Shooter the year before as well. So you've kind of got some guys coming in, and then Nick Nakos is still only 22.
Yeah, he's so young.
He's coming to his best footy, so he's going to continue to improve. I think just got to keep the group together and stay connected,
and that's exactly
keep pushing
what's
one
happening.
or two young blokes in.
Yep.
Like, it'd be nice if a Will Parker and a couple of those types could come through and just give them the full 20 odd games. And give them a good run out, or at least give them the first block of 2 months and see how they fit in.
And that's what's pretty much, I think, going to happen now. Like this, next year could be just the final or the last dance.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jordan's Bulls.
Yeah.
With the group that we have.
Yeah.
But filtering through those young kids, and people don't realize, like, opposition supporters, the cliff's coming. But like, we made a prelim with this same team. Yes, we're going to be a year older, but so is everyone else.
Yeah,
we do have.
We also had
a
those
bunch of young
key
kids coming
injuries
through.
as well throughout the year. Like, you get a full year out of Jordan De Goey, and you never know. Like, we might be unstoppable again for a period of time during the year. it does come down to injuries and key players and things like that. And that's probably the only thing that worries me. I'm confident. I'm really confident,
Me too,
and not just for next year, but I'm confident for the future. But at some stage, you do lose a Pendlebury and a side bottom, and these guys, we just got to do it right. You know, got to do it right. I just don't think, and I probably said this year, and I was probably wrong, but maybe do you play side bottom 1 week, Pendlebury the next, or play them 2 out of every 3 games, and try and get some kids in, because what ends up at the end of the year, if one of them's injured or out of form or whatever, and they're coming to that, the end of their careers, and they're not performing as well as you'd like, have you given an opportunity to a younger player in case that happens for the pointy end of the season? And I did think that, Pendlebury certainly wasn't bad. He's still playing solid right up until the end. But side bottom was unbelievable in the first 2 years. He's probably near the form player of the comp, or form midfielder of the comp. And then it's the last third of the year, he was still okay, but it dropped off.
Slowed down a lot.
And is that the age component and backing up week after week? So you've got to obviously manage those situations as best you can and make sure you got players to replace if we can't get it right.
Well, we saw it, with Pendlebury going off in the first 5 minutes, and no one could replace him. Yeah, we didn't have that one that could step up into his role. So I think next year we'll see a lot of them trying, the coaches trying to mitigate that. Yeah. If he's only going to play, so let's say there's 25 games in a season, including a grand final. If he's only going to play half of those or something, you need someone to step up into his role. Yeah. You can't just leave Pendlebury out with no one being that on-field coach. Yeah. Because that's exactly what he gives us. So it's going to be.
And some experienced players have gone out, haven't they? When you look at like Hoskin Elliott, Mason Cox, Tom Mitchell. Oh, they're all good players, and they're experienced players, and they help set up the balance of the team. And when you got injuries, those players are very helpful.
Well, that's it. We haven't gotten anyone to replace those guys at the moment. So I guess we can just jump straight into delisting. So like you said, Mitchell and Cox, Charlie Dean, Finn McRae, Ash Johnson, Oleg Markov. So 6
good memory.
Delistings.
Jeez.
Yeah, just rattling them off, You'd think that this was my full-time job or something that I had to.
Yeah, exactly right. I think the McRae one's a bit of a disappointing one. He just didn't come on. He dominates VFL like there's no tomorrow.
But how many times do we see that?
Up.
A player that just dominates the VFL and just can't.
Yeah. I think he just lacks half a yard of speed. And I think that's where they got it wrong with that one. The other guys, obviously Mason Cox, I thought they might have held on him just for one more year as a backup. Yep. So I'll guarantee someone will grab him. And
you'd think so.
He'll probably end up a first ruck for 2 years and play really well. Somewhere that needs a ruck, maybe Essendon or a team like that. Tom Mitchell was a big one. He's 32. That did look like he slowed down a bit, and he was never quick. Yeah. Coming off a horrific injury and so forth as well, makes it tricky to get back into it, doesn't it?
It does.
But he did play good footy. Even the games he came in, he played pretty well. But you can't have too many of those one pace types, unfortunately.
And Ned Long just took his spot.
Yeah, correct. And he's a little bit more. He's a little bit bigger. Yep. Stronger. And he's more accountable. Like he likes playing on someone and then working off them. And apparently his fitness is through the roof.
It's through the roof. He's got good. I love Ned Long, but then you lose someone like Tom Mitchell, who to his credit is looking for a fourth club now. And I hope he does get picked up.
Well, who would he be perfect for? Do you think?
Probably a West Coast, I think, just as that on-field leader, even like a Richmond, somewhere where
Richmond have got the fleet-footed outside flankers and wingers, don't they? Probably don't have. Bit of growth. They've got a couple of boys on the inside with Taranto and Hopper and these guys. But one more experienced player would be handy.
Just to help, and then maybe he goes into coaching or something like that. But you can see just the amount of work, especially Tom Mitchell, that just put into his body. And he played. I think I read that he played 16 games in a row, including VFL, when he came back from that 1 year off injury. Yeah. And just couldn't get back into the team, and unfortunately. That's just football, isn't it? But that means that there's no number 6 running around.
No number 6. No, there's not. There's not. It'll be interesting to see who comes in and takes over. I was telling you before, like one of my good mates, my best mate at my wedding, Jason Fincher, his son Kai is playing some good footy. Sandy Dragons, I think he's at, and he's been at and playing a couple of games, I think, at Sandringham in the VFL as well. Come through, playing some great footy, skillful, quick, sort of midfielder, flanker type. Apparently Collingwood are looking at him. So imagine my best mate's son getting
gets the number 6.
Gets the number 6.
Well, we know Craig McRae is watching, so he always does. He always loves to tune in, Fly. So
that's right.
He's hoping we get Kai in that number 6 next season. But then you got your other delistings, Charlie Dean.
Yeah,
you know, we saw the good and the.
Well, Charlie was about 24 in the end, but
I
on
think so.
D-list.
I think he's been on the list for about 3 or 4 years. Yeah,
he's had plenty of chances.
He has. Yeah.
Look, he's a top liner at VFL again. Probably for me, just looking at him and the way he plays, probably just needed to be another inch or two, probably a couple of inches taller. 200 centimetre type, because he's not quite as quick as what he could be. Doesn't quite have the longer levers.
And we've seen that lots of times,
And it's just the aggression in the air a couple of times. I thought just a few little things, but he's a nice player, but just not an elite. And he just, plays in that position.
You need to be elite in that position.
They need to be in this day and age. Intercept marking, key backs are critical.
Yeah, and then we've got Ash Johnson and Markov, who we delisted last year, then re-rookied them. Ash breaks his leg. In like that first preseason game, and he just couldn't get a run on it.
Interesting to see if someone grabs him too.
Yeah, I think he just has so much to offer, and I think so does Markov as well. If they want to continue playing football, they both have so much to offer. I think Markov will miss the most. Yeah, just with
he's a real character.
Oh man, he always gives you the time of day, and he is. Even if he starts emceeing the MCG our home games. Yeah, I think. Max Lynch, who played for Collingwood, then played for Hawthorn, retired because of concussions. Right. He started emceeing Hawthorn's home games. Okay. I'd love Markov to get on the
he'd be great.
Get on the mic. It would be so much fun. It'd be so, and just bring, because sometimes
he's got a bit of a cult following now at Collingwood.
He does.
He too.
Yeah.
Bit of a larrikin, bit of a lad, spiritual kind of emotional guy. Yeah. And players seem to love him. Fans love him. It would be silly not to make good use of him. I thought.
Oh man, I think he'd fit into a media role just perfectly. But that's what it is like. So we had 6 delistings and only 1 retirement in Will Hoskin Elliott. Yeah. And of those delistings, 3 of them, I guess Markov as well, are over 30. So this off season was really culling down our over 30s list, and then we go to trades and we lose Brody Mihocek, which was saw coming.
So we're a fair bit younger by the looks of things.
Yeah.
Especially depending on who you pick up, but obviously you're going to pick up some younger players in the draft. Probably not a bad move, and then you're probably the main. I mean, you still got obviously. Who the 30 plus you guys have got left? Jamie Elliott,
Jamie Elliott, Sidey, Howe, McStay, Cameron.
Still a few.
Crisp. There's still a few. But there was 15, and now there's only probably
crazy,
like 8.
Yeah.
So look, there's still a lot, but it does lower the list profile a little bit. And from that prelim that we just talked about, Mason Cox comes out of that team, and Brody Mihocek comes out of that team now. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Mihocek taking that 2-year deal and going to Melbourne?
I suppose he's got that stage of his career where he was offered a 1 year at Collingwood.
Yeah, so it was a 1 year, and I heard that they changed it to 2, but I think it was just too late.
Yeah, too late. And he probably wouldn't have been able to get the money. You'd be able to get over there. Is that right? And they're freeing up some cash, obviously, Melbourne with Oliver and Petrarca as well, moving on.
Out. Yep.
So there's a bit of money over there. I mean, you've got to look after yourself, don't you, at the tail end.
Age as well.
I could have looked after myself a bit earlier because I love the club. I wasn't going to go anywhere. But then at the end, you get injury and you're out. Could have got a 3 or 4 year deal at North Melbourne or another club.
Yeah, right.
And just didn't take it. And then injury gone, 28. Yeah. So that can happen. So in some ways, you've got to look after yourself, especially at that time when he's had a few injuries too.
He has. Well, we know that he played injured in that.
We didn't really get anything for him, did we? Was it?
No, it was like a pick 61 and couple.
So what happened in that circumstances? How does that? I mean, I've always thought, how does this happen? They're just doing a deal and he wants to go, and they're just looking after the player.
I think
get there.
I think the main thing was that Melbourne. So Charlie Spargo went to North Melbourne. Yeah. So Melbourne got pick. I think it was like 42 from memory for a combo. Yeah. And if they had brought in Mihocek from free agency, they would have lost that 42. Yeah. So Collingwood was just like, here's a handshake deal. Yeah. Just lower our picks a little bit. send you my check and we can just do it that way, so you can keep that. It's a bit of like insider trading, pretty much, like to keep that compo pick.
Because you see somewhere they go, like obviously with the merit thing, they're asking for like 4 first rounders or whatever it friggin' was, crazy initially.
Insane.
And you're going, what the hell? And then you've got someone like, I mean, Merit's a star, as we know, but you got the Mihocek one, they're just actually giving him away virtually, and it's all circumstantial, we understand that, but there is some weird ones that go on, and it's an interesting time of the year, there's no question about that.
No, and I think, look, with the Mihocek deal, or sorry, with the Mihocek just trade, you know, it kind of hit me because, like, we pick him up as a mature age, as a rookie.
Yeah.
He comes through as Port Melbourne, won a grand final with Port Melbourne as a backman.
Right. Yep.
We throw him into the forward line in 2018. Nearly wins us a flag.
Don't forget, he was at Marby Park.
He was at Marby Park,
as a 19-year-old.
Was he
and I
actually?
had him as a centre-half back, and I moved him to centre-half forward halfway through the year.
Oh, mate.
All right, so
you've seen it.
Maybe, you know, the coach, maybe Bucks, whoever it was coaching at that
saw
time.
That.
Maybe he saw it. I might have even texted him at some stage. I can't remember. Let's say that I did. But he did play a year under me, and then obviously Port Werribee first for a couple of years, and then Port Melbourne, and played in a flag third in the best and fairest in the premiership
just
season.
Incredible, and then to come to the Pies and be our leading goal kicker 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
You know,
pretty
obviously
amazing effort, really,
he is just a work, and any club would have loved to have had him, and he's going to do wonders at Melbourne.
Yeah.
Don't know who's going to kick him the ball now because they've got no midfielders anymore, so that's going to be bloody interesting. But I know you were gone for 3 weeks, but this trade period was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely nuts. Like you'd mentioned the merit, thing where, you know, Essendon wanted 5, 6, 7 first round picks for him, and then they were offered them, and then they didn't take it. Jamara goes up to Gold Coast.
Like bartering in Bali, isn't it? Like if you go to the guy and you say to him, you try and undercut him by like 4 times. You go, no, 10,000, he goes, and then he's off. You miss out on the deal like that. That's nearly what happened, isn't it? Like. They're trying to get too much, trying to ask for too much straight away, and then they just don't really even can't be bothered dealing with you anymore after that. They think we're the starting point is too far away. Yeah,
it was wild. Like watching.
Clubs got to be careful because the next time they go in next year, clubs don't want to. And that's what happened with Collingwood a fair while ago. I remember. I think in mixed day, I think there was a stage there we were going too hard and rating our own players too much, and then the next 2 or 3 years in a row after that, no club wanted to do business with you.
Wow.
So Hawthorn got to be very careful. I know Mitchell's trying to do the right thing for his club, and that's fair enough. But at the end of the day, like you've got to have some leeway somewhere and be fair in some sense, and sometimes give up a little bit too much.
Yeah.
To marry things up and get what you want. Sometimes you got to, pay overs for something to get something as well. You got to consider that every now and then if you want it bad enough.
And I think that's evidently Sydney when they brought in Curnow.
Yeah,
they pretty much gave away Florent and Hayward.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was 2 first rounders just to get Curnow and I think a pick back. But well, how do you see that? How do you see that move?
Yeah, so before I was saying Mitchell, I actually meant Scott before. Scott. But getting back to that, that was a big trade. I reckon Carlton have done well, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
because
they have.
Curnow's they haven't spoken about his knee much. Apparently his knee's not great.
Interesting,
performed poorly last year. I know he's a superstar of the game, and he'll probably get back to somewhere near his best. You would think. You would like to hope so. But hey, this is exactly what Carlton have needed, which scares me. You've got Hayward, who's quick, half forward, and can mark overhead and kick goals. Ollie can go forward or back. He's obviously coming out of the back line with Sydney the last couple of years, and he's quick and he's got great skills and vision. Yeah. It is exactly what they need. They've already got tall forwards up there. Or got Harry Mackay that can do his thing with more space to work into. Yep. They're going to have more of a fleet-footed forward line now because of it, so they can hold that footy in. And their skills have been an issue. Now they've got a couple of players who can kick a ball as well, not just speed, but got the kicking efficiency to marry that up. So they're going to be in a good position. Plus they get the other fella, Jager Smith.
They get him back,
They get him back from the knee.
Harry Dean is their father's son coming through as well. Okay. He's going to be a top 5 pick.
There you go.
I think from memory. But they do lose TDK injuries, as you know. Silvani.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so... Yeah, that's true. They do. But you know what? Like, if you get TDK, they didn't know what to do with him in the end anyway.
Yeah.
They were going, okay, we've got a couple of ruck, we may as well play Pitnet in the ruck and then move him forward, and he couldn't get a kick up forward.
Yeah.
So, and then that's sort of mucked up his form there from that point in time. So, it'd be interesting to see what they do, but you know, like, it's, I think it will be only better for them, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year next year, just for all the clubs. But before we talk about 2026 and the Pies and stuff like that, I want to talk about their best and fairest, the Copeland. Now, were you here when the Copeland happened?
No.
So Darcy Cameron won
Yep.
the Copeland, so over
Yep.
Nick Dacos by 10 or 15 votes or something like that. Incredible night. Copeland's always a beautiful night. So Darcy Cameron wins, and probably I thought he deserved to win. I got to watch my words. He deserves to win. Wasn't lucky to win, but I did think that he had a bit of a drop in form towards the end.
Yeah.
But you know, that's what the coaches saw, and I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah. From the naked eye, I'm going, it's Cameron or Dacos.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that to me. Like,
exactly.
it could go either way.
Yep.
It just depends on how the voting system works and all the rest of it. I think he's a worthy winner. I thought Nick actually had some off games too.
He did,
like,
yeah. Yep.
I thought he's had some outstanding games and games where he really influenced that. But I think compared to previous years, I reckon he had a few less.
It wasn't a consistent year for him.
Good game.
Yeah.
So I think it was. I thought it was all right. It sat well with me. I think the choice of words after from
That's
McRae
what I want to talk about.
Was wrong. I think what he was trying to say is that it needs to be looked at, and he probably wasn't trying to bring the Dacos thing into it, but obviously with what he said on the night
was brought into
about the Brownlow situation tied into what he was saying about the change of the. And then he's eating his words from that point in time, wasn't he? Really, probably just had to stay away from that completely, and just if you want to change it with no one knowing.
Well, that's
politicians do.
That's the thing, exactly. Just change with no one knowing. But that's the thing. Like the year before, the voting. I think Josh Dacos won it in 2023. Like I did a video where over the last 10 years, it's changed pretty much every single year. The voting.
Yeah.
Josh won it in 2023, or Nick won it last year on 900 votes.
Yeah. Okay.
Or something ridiculous like, and now, you know, Darcy won it on whatever it was, 150 votes or whatever it was. It was definitely less. But some players have won it on 80 votes. Yeah. So every year they've changed it anyway, pretty much, to find the perfect balance. Yeah. And all of a sudden he says, oh yeah, we'll look at sort of changing at what works the best. We've been doing that anyway, but just no one saw that because it's just a nice little
when I was playing, they used to have, I think it was either 20 or 30 votes. And so if you got a best on ground, you get probably 5.
Yep.
But if 2 guys played outstanding, you both get 5.
Yeah.
If 3 guys played unbelievable, but 3 blokes you get 5.
Yeah.
I like that system because what would happen if you just do the old school 5-4-3-2-1 like they do in local footy? The coach's pet always gets the 5, and then someone could be getting 3s and 4s, but they're playing just as well as the guys getting 5. Next thing you know, you come 3rd or 4th when you could have won it.
Yeah.
So I like the system where you can get even votes, but when they're getting 900 votes, it just becomes confusing.
Oh man, it's so
the fans
confusing.
need to be able to understand it too.
Yeah, it's just as confusing as like the Brownlow at times, like especially when. Oh, we're giving 6 coaches the ability to give 20 votes a game. It's like, that's too many votes. Too many votes in a game, and then you win it by 300 votes.
Everyone looks at it differently. You want your best 3 coaches to give votes, and that is it.
Yeah.
You know, the guys that you trust, that are obviously most well equipped and most experienced.
Yeah.
They're the guys that you obviously want to be obviously judging your players on votes.
Yeah, and then because then, you know, Craig McRae unfortunately comes out and says something like that and starts a bit of a whirlwind, and then everyone's sort of coming after him and coming after Nick and coming after Darcy. Yeah. And it was just, glad you were out of the country for that, because it was just it was a shit fire. Like, Kane got on it, and as soon as Kane gets onto something, it just snowballs. Yeah. It just snowballs.
He just gets carried away, the big fella. Has he gone on holidays yet?
No, he's still going.
No, he's a machine.
He like trade radio, he's doing SE, he's still going. He's absolutely still, you can't knock his work ethic.
Yeah.
He needs to go to Italy for 3 weeks.
Oh no, get rid of him for a few weeks so everyone can have a breather.
But we'll talk about 2026 now. Yep. So going into it, the biggest changes are, Mihocek coming out, getting traded out, Jack Buller coming in.
Yep.
Where do you see, this is very early, but where do you see Collingwood? Is there a cliff coming like every opposition supporter thinks so?
I wouldn't have thought so. You look through in the quality they've got right through. Their back line is super solid. You got the Quaynors still fairly young. Even Perryman middle-aged, and these guys coming through. I think even their midfield's got so much depth. I think the main thing is making sure that we understand what our midfield looks like and going with that, because we've got so many options to go through there. Sometimes you can become a little bit unsettled because Sidebottom can go through, Pendlebury can go through there, then you got De Goey, then you got Nick Dacos, then you got Josh Dacos who wants to get in there at times as well, and then Crisp goes through. There's so many options, which is a good thing, but it's nice to get a little bit more settled throughout the year at various stages as well. But yeah, just this Buller one's really interesting because he looks like a bit of a player. Yeah. I am a bit nervous because I looked at his goal kicking record. Doesn't look amazing at VFL. Better when he came into AFL actually last year. But so that was what I've heard from a few people. Maybe his goal kicking needs to be improved a little bit. But he looks like a player. Looks like he can mark the footy. Looks like he moves really well. He's a big boy, big unit.
Big boy.
So that's probably the gap that we've needed. How him and McStay can work together will be interesting too, I would have thought. So does McStay come in as his second ruck now again?
Well, that's the thing. Now we've got 5 on the bench, so no sub anymore. You can probably play a genuine second ruck if you wanted to. Yeah. You can probably have, and that's why, like you said, I'm surprised they didn't give Mason Cox another year. Yeah. Because you could play a genuine second ruck. Do you lose a runner? Sure. Yeah. But that means that.
So it's going to be five on the bench. Yep. And then they're not limited. Is there any more rotation?
No, so it's just whatever it is now, which is 70 still.
So it stays at 70. Yeah. Yeah, that makes it interesting because you're going to get some players, and there's going to be some good players each and every week that only get 70% game time. With that scenario at various stages. Yeah, and there's going to be some guys that you want on for longer who are going to get fatigued quicker because you got to leave them on longer because obviously you're trying to balance up those rotations with 5 on the bench. So some of your more endurance type athletes might have to stay out for 15, 20 minutes at a time without a breather. So that'll be interesting to see mathematically, strategically, how sides bring that in. I don't mind look, if it was me, I'd contemplate, depending on who your sub is actually using them like a sub still.
Yeah, I think we talked about this earlier as well, and you mentioned
because
this.
It stuffs up your rotation. Having 5 of them, it stuffs up your rotations. So you can rotate like you normally would. But then when you want a fresh player in the second half, you just inject him into the game. And then you can leave him out a little bit longer, potentially, because he's fresher as well. Yeah, right, yeah. And then at least then you can, I reckon it'll be much easier for the coaches to manage those rotations. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. But there might be a bit of trial and error with it in the first few games.
Definitely.
And teams playing around with it, see if they can get an advantage. It'd be interesting if one team does something that works really well with it.
And then everyone just starts copying it.
Correct. Yeah, guaranteed
which is what happens, right? Which is what happens in sort of every year. But I think what I love about it is, you know, how many times did we see Allen as a sub, comes on for 15 minutes, then has to play in the VFL? Yeah. It's going to be really good for the development, especially for Collingwood, for those young guys who, you know, Rowan Steele comes on for a quarter. Now he can play, theoretically, 4 quarters if we really needed that run and gun. It probably helps the longevity of Steele and a Pendles and a Howie maybe.
Well, yeah, one of those guys can sit on and just bring him on. If they've had 3 tough games in a row, you can sit him on the bench and play him, use him as a sub scenario, couldn't you? And maybe you got to think on your feet and see if you're in a winning position early and you're going, well, you hold players back. Oh, we're going to bring you on, but now we're going to hold you back, especially your older players and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. It's they're just throwing rule changes around every year. There's just 3 or 4 things they change every year.
Well, they're doing I don't know if it's in your league at the moment, but the lasso rule that they have it in the AFLW, the girls, and in the SANFL, where it's last touch out of bounds.
That's right.
Between the arcs. I think that's going to help a lot. Yeah, it's going to be a lot different to I reckon football is probably the only sport in the world where we just constantly. I don't reckon there's been a year, like you just said, that we're not going to change anything. Yeah. Like there hasn't been year on year for a long time.
No, it just keeps changing all the time. Look, I don't mind that rule.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
I don't mind it because it's deliberate. They've changed the deliberate rule as well, and then And then it makes it tricky. Like, guys are under pressure coming out of a pack and they kick the ball 50 metres along the line, trying to hook it in. But because they're so close to the boundary line already,
it just bounces out.
It bounces out and they get a leg break and it goes out and they call deliberate. And you're going, you're kidding, are you? Like, he had 4 blokes hanging off him when he kicked it. So at least that you know what you're dealing with. It's black and white.
That's it. There's no grey area.
So it'd be interesting to see what they do. I'm not sure if that stand the mark rule has worked very well. So
the stand,
if you can get back off the mark before he says stand, that means you can move around.
You get a free player anyway.
You can do whatever you like and cut the angles and cut off the 45 kick.
Which Collingwood are really good at.
Yeah, they're really good at it. So it just confuses me. That's another thing the umpires have to think about. You know, the stand, they say stand too late. It sort of gives a player or a team an advantage. And But I did hear that they were going to potentially change that again, but it looks as though that's going to stay as well.
The ruck rules changed now?
Yeah, so you can't cross the line now?
Yeah, so they're throwing it up, so I think they're going to, going to be a real leap.
Yep.
And that's, again, Mason Cox.
So how do they stop that? You're just not allowed to wrestle at all? You got to have to jump?
Centre, I don't know if they've come down on an actual ruling, but I think that's what it is. In the centre. And Darcy Cameron, that's all he does.
Yeah.
When he gets in the centre, he wrestles.
That's right.
He's not a leaper.
Yeah.
But TDK, Mason Cox.
For some of these ruckmen, it's good for them in terms of longevity because instead of jumping, you think about it now, everyone wants to jump early and get the advantage. You jump in the body, put you off balance, hit the ground. You fall over a lot of the time, get up and go again. Whereas the wrestling one, you just lock arms and you
don't have to do a knee on knee sort of injury.
No knees on knees, no falling over and hitting your hips on the hard turf on the ground. So that was probably good for longevity for ruckman. So that would be interesting to see if there's some more injuries with that one as well.
Yeah, it's going to be like I said, next year's going to be an interesting year. It's going to be a different type of football than we've seen for a very, very long time. But I do think that I don't know if it's a Collingwood bias to me, but I do think that it works into our favour a little bit. Like we are one of the best, if not the best, at managing players. We've seen that. So I think the 5 on the bench will help us and just seeing how we play that. Do you think next year we see Jared Wade and Craig McRae resting players like they did this year? Do you think they're going to sword in the stone that?
I'll be interested to see how they go. I think maybe if we weren't in a strong position, it may not have happened as much. Yep. That's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong, but they got themselves in a strong position. I think at one stage we were 3 games clear or 2.5 games clear. And the form was outrageous. So you're going, okay, well, we don't want to flirt with form, but we also want to make sure we manage our group. Here's a chance to do that. And although, we started doing it when the ladder was closer, I think I started doing it more once we got out to 2.5 to 3 games clear on top of the ladder. So, maybe they won't, like if we had some winning games, like you think of that Gold Coast game, if that was playing for a top 4 spot, do you think Pendlebury starts on the Pine in that game as a sub? No. I don't think he does. And then maybe we win that game. You know what I mean? So sometimes being ahead, it does flirt with your form and selection and things like that and makes you think a different way. And that's the road they went down. It didn't quite come off, but who's to say if they didn't do it, we might have fallen in a hole completely.
Exactly right. You will just never know.
Yeah, it's the unknown, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But all right, I got a couple of questions from some viewers.
Yep.
That we'll ask now, just regarding Collingwood. I'll fire them off to you. Mm-hmm. So, first one from my good friend Lockie. He says, one player from any club to join the Pies. Who and why?
One club to join the Pies. That's a tough one. And there's some good players out there at the moment. I've always liked Bontempelli.
He'd be nice.
He reminds me of Pendles, but he's a bit more solid and he seems to go forward and kick more goals at the right times as well. But do you want a player that's younger, that's ready to go?
Yeah.
Will Ashcroft would be handy.
God,
imagine getting him at 20 years of age.
Him and Nick just running through the middle.
21 years of age, whatever he is, And those two running around together for a period of... You'd probably have to say him. He's going to be a star, isn't he?
Two normies.
Well, he's a star already. What am I talking about? But, I mean... where's he going to be in another 10 years?
Well, what's this Brisbane side going to look like? They've got this. They're going to probably win the next.
They've done it well. Flags. They've done it similar to us, but they've had a bit more courage to inject youth in. At the right times, and it just looks like going to really help them for the long road, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, they're bloody fantastic. I've got Fizzy Time says, after we win the flag in 2026, who are we getting, King or Butters?
King or Butters? Or
so two free agents
Yep.
at the end of, so restricted, so Port and Gold Coast can match an offer.
Yep.
Who would you want?
Oh, both would be good.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
I think with the way we're going at the moment, with who's coming out, side bottom, Pendlebury potentially, and how I think Butters through, he's probably going to, and De Goey's not, he's had a lot of injuries and he's coming to 30 as well. You probably want a Butters through the middle.
Yeah, he could be, you'd have to be surely offering him like TDK, NAS money to get him, because you don't want Port Adelaide to be able to match an offer. You probably have to give him $2 million.
Yeah.
And he's worth it as well. He is
just about
fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
He is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, but King would be good too. You could always throw McStay back and play him as a genuine key back if you wanted to as well. So you have some options there. But both would be handy. With Pendlebury and side bottom, if they weren't to play on, like there's a bit of money there in the salary cap, you would think too.
Well, that's it. And you know, all these players leaving this year as well. I think we're pretty set up to hit the free agency pretty hard next season. I've got the guy from Oz says expectations for next year.
Oh, just we need to win it, don't we?
That's it. I think this is it's flag or bust, really.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's the last dance for us.
Yeah. I know what you're saying there. I agree with you from one perspective, but I just think when you've got guys like, you know, Nick Dacos running around, I mean, if he's in your side for the next 10 years, you're playing finals for the next 10 years.
That's true as well, yeah.
And guys like that, they've still got enough. You've still got Ned Longs coming through and guys like that. They're still going to, they're good. They're a good club, so they're going to be able to attract good players at the right times. They've brought in some middle-aged players. They've got 5, 6, 7 years to go, like the Perrymans, the Houstons, etc.
Yep.
So I think there's, I'd back him in just to keep going for the future. But I'm hearing, who's to know that we're not as heavily reliant on Pendlebury next year. We might sail along and he just can come in and do his thing here and there and play out of a back pocket or on a wing or on a forward pocket or wherever. I don't know. Maybe you don't even need him at all in the later half of the year. Who knows?
That's the biggest thing. I think we're just so over-reliant on him at the moment. Like we look at the Brisbane game. The prelim. He goes down. We shit ourselves.
The thing is that with that game though as well, you got Ron Steele, who was the sub, who comes on, plays on a wing, and I reckon he got sucked into the play a little bit on a few occasions. So you got to. I know he's 22, but he's still young and inexperienced in terms of games played. Does he understand the role as well as whoever had to go on the inside? It might have been side bottom at that particular time. I can't remember, but. You're taking experienced player regardless. Theory is take experienced player away from that area, put someone who's inexperienced on. It only takes you 3 times to be out of position, and they get looks from it, and you're done over.
And evidently, that's what happened in that third quarter.
Yeah. So in your head, you got to think: if we get an injury in the first quarter, do we want this player in?
Yeah.
Or do we want someone like Hoskin Elliott might have been more useful because you get an injury in the first quarter,
every single role,
plays every position, and understands the role inside out. It's Anyway, that's the way it goes.
It is. But I think, like I said, I think next year it's going to be a good year for us. I've got us finishing top 6. I can't see us, maybe not top 4, but I can't see us falling off like everyone sort of thinks.
Oh, mate, well, I don't know about you. I've got us finish on top.
That's it.
And winning it by 10 goals.
That's it. That's all we need to hear. Dutch, before we wrap up our final episode of 2025, I just want to say we're 23 episodes in. It has been absolutely
awesome, mate.
Incredible, dude. Like people saying, how did you guys get started? Like what happened? It was just a bunch of training sessions running into each other and exchanged numbers and stuff like that. And like I said on the very first episode, going from watching you at a half completed MCG to now doing a podcast with you. Incredible.
It's been a good journey. It's a pleasure doing business with you, mate. I'm looking forward to next year
mate,
already.
Me too.
Yeah.
We're gonna
fire things right up.
That's it.
Because we started a bit late, didn't we?
Yeah, we started
3
about
or 4, was it? Or?
Probably around June or something. June or July. I think so.
Yeah.
And we'll hit it from pre-season all the way through. going to be a bigger year for us next year.
Huge.
We'll actually plan what's going on next year.
We might think a little bit more about what we're saying before we get here. Yeah.
But it's, mate, it has been fantastic.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Looking forward to it, mate. Let's go.
Done.
Go again.
Go the Pies. Here we come. Done. See us.